Oh, alrighty. It's not ESPN's 30 for 30. However, it is my 98 for 98. The 98 seasons in the history of the New York football Giants. Going to try to get it done in 98 days. I'm probably not going to get it done in 98 days, but I will get it done before the beginning of the regular season, which starts September 10th against those Dallas Cowboys. And we're in a very special season indeed. If you're a New York Giants fan, you should obviously all be well aware of the 2007 season for the New York Giants, which just happened to be the 83rd season in the history of the New York Giants. Very, very special. Their third Super Bowl victory, seventh NFL championship. Once again, I said the 83rd season in the history of the Giants, 83rd season for the Giants, 88th season in the history of the NFL. NFL started in 1920, Giants started in 1925, so the Giants are 5 years younger than the NFL is. But 1927, 1934, 1938, 1956, 1986, 1990, 2007. Seventh championship, and of course, 86, 90, and 07 would be their third Super Bowl. This was also the first year Ernie Corsi was no longer the Giants general manager. Jerry Reese took over, and to me, by far, this was his finest draft. He really, I mean, no Hall of Famers or nothing like that, but he really knocked it out of the park. I'm not going to say all seven guys, I think it was 8 guys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8 guys. 7 out of the 8 really, really helped contribute. Adam Coates didn't really participate a whole heck of a lot. They're a 6th round pick, but pretty much all of these guys are major contributors to the 2017. The Giants had some injuries, had some, and all, and especially like what was it? Kevin Boss, the 5th round pick, the tight end. I mean, he was not a Jeremy Shockey. He's not a Mark Bavaro, but a very 5th round pick, a very solid tight end that the Giants selected in the 5th round from Western Oregon. I forgot all about that, Western Oregon. Now, he was very instrumental. I'm not going to go over all the guys, but he was very instrumental. I'll go over all the draft picks, but I'm not going to explain how they were instrumental throughout the season. But just like Kevin Boss, he was very instrumental because Jeremy Shockey, how many games was it? He broke his leg against the Washington Redskins, which was the 3rd to last game of the season. So in step Kevin Boss, rookie, and he didn't have flashy, unbelievable numbers in the final couple games and in the playoffs and all of that. But he had some. He had a huge catch. I believe it was at the end of the first half against the Cowboys. It was a long reception that got the Giants down in the scoring range, and they would go on and score a touchdown just before the end of the first half. Wound up being huge. He also had a huge reception in the Super Bowl against the Patriots. So, just all the guys, it was just really, really an outstanding draft for the New York Giants. But it didn't start off too well. Okay. Matter of fact, including preseason, the Giants lost 5 of their first 6 games, including preseason. So their first preseason game, was August 11th against Carolina at home, and they would lose 24-21. Then their only win in their first 6 games totally, right? It was preseason once again, though, but it's August 19th at M&T Bank Stadium against the Ravens. The Giants would win 13-12. Then they were the home team against the Jets. So on August 25th against the New York Jets, they would lose 20-12 at Giant Stadium. And then the final game. So, I mean, if you look at it, they actually played, this does not happen very often. Matter of fact, you have to go back and look. I don't even know how many. I'm sure it's happened before. But if you look back here, the Giants actually played the New England Patriots 3 times. So that doesn't happen very often, where an NFC team plays an AFC team 3 times in the course of one season. So that means you have to play them. You can only play them once during the regular season, and the only way to play them in the playoffs is you have to play them in the Super Bowl. of course, and then you have to play them in preseason. So I'm sure if you go back and look, I'm sure it's happened before, but it would be a rather rare occasion. I'm sure it hasn't happened too many times in the history of the Super Bowl era, where an NFC team, well, actually the NFC and AFC weren't around since 1970. So since we go back to 1970, right, and NFC and AFC team have played each other 3 times. So the Giants and the Patriots played for the first time, right, in 2007, obviously in the preseason. It was on August 30th. The Giants played away. It was at Gillette Stadium. The Patriots would win 27-20. So that was the first time the Giants played the Patriots. Actually, it was weird. They played, and this is even funnier too. They played the Patriots the last game, the preseason. They played them the last game of the regular season. Then they played them the last game in the playoffs. So that may not have ever happened. So I'm not going to waste my time spent looking back at that. But I mean, for an NFC team and an AFC team to play each other 3 times during the course of a season, it's got to be pretty rare. And then for the trifecta, the final game of the preseason, the regular season, and the playoffs, the matchup, that's got to be even rarer. That might be the only time it's happened. But anyway, let's move on. So the Giants were 1-3 in the preseason. So what does Wikipedia have to say about the New York Giants in 2007? Actually, because they won, they had quite a bit to say about the New York Giants here. So the 2007 season for the New York Giants was the 83rd season in the National Football League for the New York Giants. Their 32nd season playing their home games at Giant Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey, and their 4th under head coach, Tom Coughlin. And by that, I'm not sure if it says Jerry Reese in here or not, but this is Jerry Reese was the GM first year for Jerry Reese. Now, this was, as I said, this was by far his finest draft, because one of the problems Jerry Reese had was he was kind of leaving the cupboard bare as time went on. He might hit like on his first round selection, but I mean, a lot of his others, they never re-signed 3rd round picks for whatever reason. I have no idea why. They just, for whatever reason, they would have a 3rd round. They would just not re-sign 3rd round picks. It's just unbelievable how, So I mean, a lot of their latter draft picks, they would just draft them. They might make the team for a couple of years, and they would just never re-sign them. So he would leave. He started leaving the cupboard bare as time wore on. After like the 2011, 2012 season, I mean, that's why, we had such poor teams, 2013, 14, 15, 16, not 16, we made the playoffs, but he went on a spending spree in free agency in 2016. But, the cupboard was bare. He did not have a lot of good solid drafts where we kept the guys. We brought them on a team. Okay. We built them up, we brought them along, we coached them and we kept them. That did not happen. So unfortunately, the talent the Giants started dwindling because of their drafts were very, very poor. But the 2007 was fantastic. The Giants finished the regular season at 10-6 and in 2nd place in the NFC East, improving upon their 8-8 record in 2006, in which they finished 3rd in their division. Now, this would be the 3rd season in a row the Giants would make the playoffs. Obviously, they would make the playoffs in 2008, being the only time in Giants history where they went 4 consecutive seasons to the playoffs, 2005, 6, 7, 8. I said, with Steve Owen as the coach, they went to the playoffs. Actually, it was the championship game at 33, 34, 35, 3 times in a row. Then with Bill Parcells, they went 84, 85, 86. So it was 2 times in the past. Actually, as in 2007, this would be the 3rd time that the Giants went to the playoffs 3 years in a row. But with Tom Coughlin in 2008, they would go 4 times. Now, let's hope Dable and Shane and all smash that record. But as of right now, 2005, 6, 7, 8, with Tom Coughlin being the coach, 4 years in a row for the Giants to go to playoffs is their benchmark. All right. Where are we at? They qualified for the playoffs as a wild card team in the number 5 seed, and they beat the number 4 Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Next, they defeated the top seeded Dallas Cowboys, who had a very good team. And then they beat the number 2 seed Green Bay Packers, both of whom they had lost to in their first 2 games in the season by 10 points or more. Yeah, we're going to go over that in just a minute. to become the National Football Conference representative in the Super Bowl. They also defeated the heavily favored and previously undefeated, obviously, of course, the 18-0 New England Patriots, and spoiled their perfect season, aided by the famous painting to Tyree helmet catch. Whew, man, you just get chills just thinking about that, man. You get chills. Whew. The 2007 New York Giants became the 9th wildcard team in NFL history to reach the Super Bowl and the 5th wildcard team to win the Super Bowl, and the very first NFC wildcard team to accomplish that feat. So I guess the other 4 wildcard teams to win this, make the Super Bowl and win it, were all AFC teams. They were the 3rd team in history to win 3 road playoff games en route to the Super Bowl and set a league record for most consecutive road wins in a single season with 11. Freaking amazing what they did. The Road Warriors that they were. Absolutely amazing. Though the Super Bowl is played on a neutral field rather than an opponent's stadium, it was the 7th league championship season for the New York Giants, and their first since they won Super Bowl 25 in 1990. This season also marked the end of a defensive end, Michael Strahan's NFL career, as he retired following the Giants' Super Bowl victory. You win a Super Bowl, you ride off in the sunset. I'm just a little disappointed Tiki Barber didn't hang around for one more season, which he could have. But it is what it is. 2007 marked the 3rd consecutive season the Giants made the playoffs, which was only the 2nd time that happened since the AFL-NFL merger. All right, but it happened in 1933. They lost to the Bears in the championship game, 23-21. It happened in 1934. They beat the Bears in the Sneakers game at the Polo Grounds, 30-13. In 1935, they lost to the Detroit Lions in Detroit, 26-7. So so prior to the AFL-NFL merger, it happened one time for the Giants went to the championship game. They also went to the championship game 3 times. Ali Sherman, 61, 62, and 63. So I do apologize. So this would be the 4th time. They went 34, 35, and 33, 34, 35 with Steve Owens, the coach, 61, 62, 63 with Ali Sherman, and then Bill Parcells, 84, 85, 86. So I do apologize. This would be the 4th time that they went to the playoffs 3 times in a row. I forgot about Ali Sherman, 61. And of course, they lost all those 3 championship games. But anyway, let's see. Tom Coughlin joined Bill Parcells, Steve Owen, and Ali Sherman as the only head coaches in history of the team to lead the Giants to the postseason 3 consecutive years. The Giants season is widely regarded as one of the greatest Cinderella stories in professional sports history. Not only did they beat one of the greatest teams of all time, the undefeated Patriots, he did so as a wildcard team that had to win 3 playoff games on the road to the Super Bowl. And after looking very mediocre at times during the regular season, in fact, based on regular season performance, the 2007 New York Giants were the worst team to ever reach a Super Bowl. Wow. A curiosity later surpassed when the 2011 New York Giants won the Super Bowl to become the first team with a negative point differential to win a Super Bowl. Wow. NFL Films named the 2007 New York Giants as the 53rd greatest team of all time in their countdown of the top 100 teams in NFL history. Wow. Go figure. Go figure. Yeah, as I said, it did not start off very, very well for the New York Giants. But so let's go to their draft. All right, as I said, which wound up being a very, very solid draft. Basically, Jerry Reese, that had he had 8 picks. He had 2 in the 7th round, but he had a 1st, a 2nd, a 3rd, obviously a 4th, a 5th, a 6th, 1 in a 7th, and then he had I'm sure it had to be a compensatory pick here. Let's take a look. Was it a compensatory pick? That's my dog. That's good old Randy. Yes, they had a compensatory pick. That compensatory pick received from the NFL for loss of free agents Will Allen, Kendrick Clancy, Nick Greason, and Sean Williams. Now, Will Allen and Sean Williams, they were, Will Allen was the 1st round selection in 2001. So they lost some good talent. So, but with this compensatory pick, this one wound up being huge. They took Ahmad Bradshaw. Wound up being huge. But anyway, It's going to the first round selection, right? They took Aaron Ross, defensive back. He played 7 seasons in the NFL. He was from Texas, cornerback. He played from 2007 to 2013, and he wanted to get himself 2 Super Bowl rings with the New York Giants. Now from 2000, he played with the Giants from 2007 to 2011. In 2012, he played 1 season with Jacksonville, and in 2013, he came back and he played in 4 games for the Giants in 2013. He had some injury issues. 2009, he only played in 4 games. In 2013 with the Giants, he only played in 4 games. So, every night he got a little nicked up. 2007, he played in 15 games. He started 9 games for the Giants at left cornerback. He had 3 interceptions, right? He had 42 tackles. He had 1.5 sacks, but just overall a very solid pick for the New York Giants. Nothing, no lockdown corner, this, that, the other thing or nothing, but a very solid pick for the New York Giants. Very, very good pick overall for Jerry Reese to start off his GM career, shall we say. Now the second pick here. Now this one was a Jim Dandy, of course. Unfortunately for the Giants, this one was you can just chalk up like page after page. I mean, just so many promising, good, young, talented wide receivers that got injured that really wound up hurting their career because of injury. The Giants had quite a few of them. I mean, even as Jeremy Shockey. I mean, he was there from 2002 to 7. He breaks his leg, and then then the next season he's off with the Saints. But I mean, just they had so many guys over the course of their careers. Obviously, it's football; it is what it is, and things happen. But Steve Smith's another one of those promising young wide receivers, and I believe this is still a record. He has the Giants' record for receptions in a season with 107. Which was in 2009. He had 107 receptions in 2009. I mean, just, I mean, if you look, I mean, in 2007, he played, where we at? He played in 12 games, he started in 5 games. I'm sorry. He played in 5 games. He didn't start any game. He caught 8 passes his rookie season. Right. But he did have, in the playoffs, he was good in the playoffs. But his second season, he caught 57 balls. 2008, 2009, he had 107 receptions. Then he would get injured in 2009. He had 48 receptions in 9 games, and then he got injured. In 2010, he got injured. 2011, he came back. He tried to make a comeback with the Eagles. He played 9 games, and he had 11 receptions. And then he played one more season, 2012, with the St. Louis Rams. He played in 9 games, and he had 14 receptions. It's just, when he got injured, basically his career was pretty much over. It was a shame because he was a very promising, young wide receiver. It looks like a lot of promise to him, and I said he caught 107 passes one year, just phenomenal. But it was a very solid pick for the Giants. All right, so then now in the 3rd round, the Giants took Jay Alford. Now, unfortunately, Jay Alford played. He played 2007 to 2010, but he got injured. He only wound up playing in 3 seasons. Only, I think 2 of them were the Giants, right? Yeah. 2007 and 2008 were with the Giants, and he got injured, and so he missed like a season. Then he came back in 2010, and he played 4 games for the Oakland Raiders. But Jay Alford was very instrumental. He was the Giants' backup long snapper, but also he had the final sack in the Super Bowl, which he came bursting up the middle, and he sacked Tom Brady. Tom Brady's laying on the ground. They called it, I think might have called his final timeout. Put the down and distance very far for the Patriots. It was a huge sack for the Giants. Absolutely huge sack. He only had 1 sack all season. I'm not sure if that. This is from Pro Football Reference, so it says he had 1 sack. I'm not sure if that was the sack in the Super Bowl or not, but it was very, very the mountainous sack for the Giants. It came in unbelievable time. You know, I can't remember if there was a stunt or not, but he came up the middle and, you know, and bursting up the middle and ran straight at Tom Brady, sacked him. Tom Brady's on the ground. I think called this might have been his final timeout. It was a huge, huge sack for Jay Alford. Then, of course, we had Zach Diassi. He played 13 seasons, 2007 to 2019, the fourth round pick the Giants had. I mean, he was basically, he was a linebacker, and then he became the Giants' long snapper. But from 2007 to 2019, he was part of the New York Giants. He played in 199 games. God bless him, man. What a fantastic pick. I mean, once again, not a all pro, not a Pro Bowler, not a Hall of Fame, this, that, and the other thing. But to play that 199 games for the Giants as a fourth round pick, fantastic pick. Then in the fifth round, as I mentioned, we wound up taking Kevin Boss, a tight end from Western Oregon. Now he I'll tell you what, it's amazing because quite a few guys that the Giants have had, that after they left the Giants wound up going to the Raiders. Jay Alford was one, right? But Kevin Boss was another one of those guys. It kind of made with Kevin Boss's, it kind of made Jeremy Shockey expendable. Okay. And so after 2007 season, after Jeremy Shockey recovered from his broken leg, which he happened against the Redskins, Jeremy Shockey went with the Saints. And, so the Giants had Kevin Boss from 2007, 8, 9, and 10. And after, unfortunately, he didn't make he was in 2011, he went to the Raiders. And then he finished up his career playing in 2012 with the Kansas City Chiefs. He played 2 games for the Chiefs in 2012, and his career was over. But, that's it. I mean, 2007, he had 9 receptions, but he had a couple. And I said, I don't know if that includes the playoffs, but he had 2 huge receptions for the Giants in the playoffs. Really, really huge. When the Giants needed a long play or reception, whatever, he gave the Giants 2 big receptions. Wound up being fantastic. But 2008, he had 33 catches. 2009, he had 42 catches. 2010, he had 35. Nothing huge, nothing. But it was just a solid pick for the Giants. I got 4 years out of him, right? And then he wound up going to the Raiders. But once again, he contributed for the team. Then we had Adam Coates. Now, this is the only guy pretty much who really did not participate a whole heck of a lot. What did he do? He didn't play. Here it says 2007, but Bear says he didn't play in any games in 2007. He was a backup tackle, right? And he played 4 seasons for the Giants. In his career, he started 4 games. In his career, he played in 11 games for the Giants. So 2007, Adam Coates was pretty much the only one who really didn't do much of a contribution to the team. So then they had their 2 7th-round picks. Now, their first 7th-round pick, they took defensive back Michael Johnson from Arizona. Now, once again, just, a solid pick. But it was a 7th-round pick. He played 4 seasons for the Giants. Let's see. 2007, he played in 16 games. He started 5 games for the Giants. Where we at? 2008, he played in and started as a free safety. He played in and started all 16 games for the Giants in 2008, which their team in 2008 was probably even better than the 2007 season. And the Giants were on their way. It's another story for tomorrow night. But the 2008 team was really, really good. It was better than the 2007 team. But anyway, 2009, Johnson played in 15 games, started 14, and his final season in 2010, he just played in 2 games for the Giants, and then his career was over. But once again, it's just a solid 7th round. He played 4 seasons for the Giants. He contributed during the 2007 season, a good solid pick. Then, of course, the compensatory pick, which they wound up getting from losing their free agents. They took Ahmad Bradshaw from Marshall, the running back. So then between Derek Ward, Brandon Jacobs, and Ahmad Bradshaw, they had 3 good running backs. And of course, you can never forget the, he's pretty much the one that helped run the Giants into the playoffs. They needed to win one more playoff game to secure a playoff spot, and they were in Buffalo. and it was late in the game. Am I gonna? Oh, let's see. Hold on. It was late in the game, and we're gonna pop this up here. I want to find out the exact score here. Box score. The Giants scored twice toward the end, but the second to last touchdown was Ahmad Bradshaw. All right. The Giants were up. Well, actually, the Giants were losing 21-17. Kawika Mitchell, unfortunately, he played one season for the Giants, and they didn't re-sign him. I don't know why. He had a nice, solid season for the Giants. But anyway, Kawika, I think it was Kawika or Kawika. It's K-A-W, Kawika Mitchell. I'm going to say it. Picked off a pass and ran it back 20 yards for a touchdown. So the Giants were up, put them up 24-21. So there was 6 minutes left to go in the game. Right, there's little snow flurries coming down. The Giants were at their own 12-yard line. They're up by 3 points. So if they don't move the ball, if they don't get a first down or something like that, get it out of trouble, the Bills could, maybe get the ball back and maybe at least march down and maybe kick a field goal, maybe tie it up or something like that. So this game was very important to the Giants because actually the Giants were down 14-0 early. But this game was very important to the Giants because if the Giants won, they secured a playoff spot. So with 6 minutes, actually 12 seconds left to go, the Giants had the ball at their own 12-yard line. I believe Ahmad Bradshaw came into the game, and he told the offensive line, he said, just give me a hole. And I don't know if Sean O'Hara said it in his head or if he said it out loud to Ahmad, but he said, shut up, rookie. But they gave him a hole. He went 88 yards to the house in the snow flurries, and I'll never. I can still picture in my mind 88 yards. The way he was like galloping and all of that. Nobody could catch him. It was fantastic. It was a thing of beauty. So that put the Giants up 31-21, and then Corey Webster would like a play or so later, Corey Webster picked a pass off, ran it back 34 yards for a touchdown to make it 38-21. So with 5 minutes to go in the game, the Giants were up by 17 points by 3 scores, and the game was pretty much over. But the one that Ahmad Bradshaw run really, really helped propel the Giants to the victory. Put them up 31-21, and they would wind up winning. So the Giants would win against Buffalo. They would be 10-5, and they would secure a playoff spot. So meaning the final game of the season against the Patriots was meaningless. Well, it was meaningless, but it wasn't. But we'll go over that in a minute here. But let's see here. The Giants, Giants scored 23 points a game. They gave up 21.9 points per game. The Giants scored 373 points. They gave up 351. So they gave up almost as many points as they scored. And by the first 2 games, you'd be hard-pressed to think the Giants were going anywhere. My son and I were at the first game of the season. It was in Dallas, and I remember it was a very exciting game. There was 80 points were scored. Unfortunately, the Cowboys scored 45, and the Giants scored 35. So the thing was, and my son, because he's a Cowboy fan, so he came home. He was very happy. He came home very happy. But as I said, I remember watching the Giants had the offense. So okay, we can score some points, but our defense was just horrible. The defense gave up, 478 yards of offense. They just kept giving up play after play after play. And the Cowboys wound up winning 45-35. So, as I said, I walked out of there knowing the Giants could score some points. And then my son obviously left there being very happy because the Cowboys won. But I was kind of like, man, where's this defense at? Aren't we supposed to have a defense? There was a lot of long plays here. Sam Hurd had a 51-yard touchdown reception. Terrell Owens scored a 47-yard touchdown reception. Terrell Owens had a 22-yard touchdown reception. Plexico Burrs had a 60-yard touchdown reception. It was back and forth. Actually, it was 38-35. And with Sam Hurd, he had a 51-yard touchdown pass with 3 minutes to go to put the Cowboys up by 10 points, and the Giants couldn't score again. So the Giants lost 45-35. So the Giants started off 0-1. Then The second game of the season, they gave up 35 points. So basically, they gave up 80 points in their first two games. Now, it wasn't that bad because the Packers scored a bunch of points in the final quarter. They scored 21 points in the final quarter. Actually, it was 14-13 going into the fourth quarter. So when you think of it, the Giants lost 35-13. Oh, my God, they got blown out of the water. What is going on? No, it was 14-13 going into the fourth quarter. And with 13 minutes and 33 seconds, Donald Lee scored on a 3-yard touchdown pass from Brett Favre. So, going into the fourth quarter, it was 14-13. It was anybody's ball game. But the defense gave up 3 touchdowns in the final quarter. So they gave up 35 points. So they gave up 80 points in the first 2 games. Yeah. I'm like, we're 0-2, right? And then what made it even worse was the next week they played the Redskins in Washington. All right. And this is where the goal line stand. One of the Giants' greatest goal line stands in their history. All right. What are we at here? The Redskins were up 17-3 at halftime. So the Giants basically were on pace to give up another 34 points in this game. So basically, at halftime, they gave up 17. So 17 and 17 would be 34. So basically, they were on pace to give up 114 points in the first 3 games of the season. It's like, where is this freaking defense at? Well, it came to life in the second half of the game, right? Giants were down 17-3 at half. Reuben Jones scored on a 1-yard touchdown run to make it 17-10. Then Reuben Jones scored on a 1-yard touchdown run once again in the fourth quarter to make it 17-17. Plaxico Burress scored a 33-yard touchdown pass from Eli Manning with 5 minutes and 32 seconds left to go in the game to put the Giants up 24-17. So the Giants scored 21 unanswered points in the second half to go up 24-17. Washington got the ball, drove down the field, got down, I think, the 1 or the 2 yard line. And it was first and goal, and the Giants defense on the fourth down, they tried to run the ball wide to the left, and I can't remember who it was. Somebody came in and undercut the runner, whoever the runner was. I can't remember who it was, and knocked him. He tackled him at like the 3 or 4 yard line, I think it was, knocked him short, and the Giants with their goal line stand were able to secure the victory. It was a huge, huge goal line stand. Now, of course, if the Redskins scored, would have sent it to overtime, the Giants still could have won the game. But just that they were down 17-3 on the road. They're 0-2, right? Then they come back with 21 points in the second half. Their defense shuts the Redskins out. They go up 24-17, and then to make it even more impressive, the Redskins march down to the 1 or 2 yard line, and on 4 successive plays, the Giants keep the Redskins out of the end zone, and they wind up winning 24-17. That was huge, absolutely huge, because you figure the Giants wound up going from 0-2 to 10-5. They lost the last game of the season to the Patriots to go 10-6, but they went from 0-2 to 10-5. So basically, after they were 0-2, their next 13 games, they were 10-3. So they had the momentum. And then when they almost beat, they just lost. The Patriots are definitely a better team the final game of the season, but the confidence was just there. They went 10-3. They just barely lost to a team that wound up going 18-0 up before the Super Bowl. So they had a lot of confidence in them that they could beat anybody, anywhere, and they wound up doing it too. So after they beat the Redskins, they went on a roll. 1, 2. They won 6 games in a row. They beat the Redskins. Then they wound up beating their arch nemesis at home, the Eagles, 16-3. So now the Giants are 2-2. Then the Giants wound up facing the Jets, right? So you'll notice in 2007 and 2011, what wound up happening? They played the AFC East. They played the Jets. They played the Patriots. They played the Dolphins. They played the Bills. So once again here, they beat the Jets. The Giants were the home team. They won 35-24. So now the Giants are 3-2. The following week, the Giants would go on the road, and in Atlanta, they would win 31-10. So now the Giants are 4-2. The following week, the Giants played the San Francisco 49ers at home, and they would win 33-15. Now the Giants are 5-2. Now the Giants went on the road, and they played, once again, the AFC East. They played the Miami Dolphins in Miami, and the Giants would win 13-10. Now the Giants are 6-2. Then the Giants had their bye week. They came back, and the Cowboys, once again, because the Cowboys won the division, the Cowboys were a very good team. very good offensive team they were that year. Very good team, offensive-wise. They were tough to beat. Tough. So the Cowboys in Week 10, it wound up being, after the bye week, it was the Giants' 9th game. Cowboys played in Giants Stadium, and the Cowboys won 31-20. So now the Giants are 6-3. The following week, the Giants would rebound, and in Detroit, they would win 16-10. Now the Giants are 7-3. The following week, the Giants wound up getting shellacked at home by the Minnesota Vikings, 41-17. So the Vikings were the Vikings were 4-6 coming into the game. But this right here, this game was just really. The Vikings started off. They had a 60-yard touchdown pass. Sidney Rice had a 60-yard touchdown pass. But then this was the pick six game. It was just unbelievable. Absolutely. Sometimes you get these games, you just shake your head, it's sometimes it's just hard to form words just to describe this game. But after the Giants tied it up at 7-7, Darren Sharper picked the pass off from Eli Manning, ran it back 20 yards for a touchdown. Then in the fourth quarter, with the Vikings winning 27-10, the Vikings picked the pass off, ran it back 93 yards. It was basically a 14-play swing. The Giants were going in for a touchdown, but then Dwight Smith picked the pass off and ran it back 93 yards for a touchdown. So it was a 14-point swing right there. So instead of the Giants going in for a touchdown and make it 27-17, after the interception, it wound up being 34-10. Then the Giants got the ball back right away, and 42 seconds later, Chad Greenway picked the pass off, ran it back 37 yards for a touchdown. That was 41-10. Plexico Burress with 5 minutes and 54 seconds caught a 6-yard touchdown pass from Eli Manning, but it was too little, obviously too late. The Vikings with three pick sixes in the game, won 41-17. You take the 3 pick sixes away, and it was a 20-17 game. The Vikings had 251 yards of offense. They had 15 first downs, and they scored 41 points, basically because they had no turnovers. The Giants had 4 turnovers. It was just, one of those games, but thankfully something like that happened during the regular season. It was a wake-up call, right? Got them focused back, got them focused once again, got them back, because the following week they would wind up in Chicago. They would beat the Bears 21-16. Then the next week they would wind up doing a rarity. They actually beat the Eagles 2 times in one season. So in week 14, the Giants played their 13th game, and they beat the Eagles 16-13. Now the Giants are 9-4. Following week at home, the Redskins would come to town, and the Redskins beat the Giants. They exacted a little bit of revenge on the Giants, right? So the Redskins won 22-10. So now the Giants are 9-5. As I said, and I mentioned the game that they played in Buffalo. If they win, they're in, and that's what they did. They won 38-21 in the snow. There wasn't heavy snow; some snow flurries came down at times. But when Ahmad Bradshaw took off for 88 yards for a touchdown, there was some snow flurries coming down. I'll never forget it. So the Giants won 38-21 against the Bills. So the Giants were 10-5, and they punched their ticket to the playoffs. Now, the thing is the final game of the season was against the New England Patriots. Now, the Patriots were 16-0. They wanted to, they were 15-0. They were trying to go 16-0. And the thing is that with Tom Coughlin, it was like, do I play my starters or do I not? Do I rest my starters? We don't need the game. We're a wild card team. We can't catch the Cowboys. It doesn't matter. What do we do? The Patriots are coming to the Giants, right, to the Giants Stadium. Patriots want this game. They played all their starters because they wanted to be undefeated. So what does Tom Coughlin do? He plays the starters. And it just wound up being a phenomenal game, back and forth. And the Patriots wound up, they were the better team that day, and they deserved the win, and they won. But it was a great game, 38-35. How exciting is that, huh? Let's see here. It was back and forth. Let's see. The Giants were winning 7-0. They were winning 14-10. Then it was 14-13. Then it was 16-14. Then Kevin Boss got a touchdown. It was 21-16. Then the Giants actually, with 9 minutes to go in the third quarter, the Giants were actually up 28-16. but then the Patriots scored 3 straight touchdowns. Randy Moss's the 65-yard touchdown bomb from Tom Brady put them up 31-28. Then Lawrence Maroney had a 5-yard touchdown run with 4 minutes to go, put them up 38-28. The Giants came back. Plexico Burress scored a 3-yard touchdown from Eli Manning to make it 38-35. It was back and forth. Very exciting game. As I said, the Giants actually were winning 28-16. So, but I said that, the Patriots were the better team. Actually, Patriots had 27 first downs, Yeah, they were the better team. They won. So, congratulations to them. They were 16-0, but it wouldn't matter in the playoffs, right? So, the Giants were 10-6. Let's see what do we got here? What do we got? Eli Manning played in all 16 games. He completed 56% of his passes. You got Daniel Jones completing 66, 67, whatever percent of his passes. Eli Manning in Super Bowl season only completed 50. In 2007, the Super Bowl season, Eli Manning had 23 touchdown passes. He had 20 interceptions. He was a slinger, right? Brandon Jacobs had 1,009 yards rushing. The Giants had, really good running backs. Brandon Jacobs had 1,009 yards rushing. Derek Ward had 602. Brandon Jacobs averaged 5 yards a carry. Derek Ward averaged 4.8. Amon Bradshaw averaged 8.3 yards a carry. Of course, the 88-yard really, really helped. But Amon Bradshaw. But they also had Reuben Drones in there. He had 6 touchdown runs. So, they had a very, very good group of runners, without question. Of course, they had Eli Manning, but then they had, they had a bunch of receivers. Jeremy Shockey had 57 receptions. Plexico Burress had 70. Amani Toomer, Mr. Reliable, had 59. They had a bunch of guys that Snorris Moss, that was a bad pick. He had 21 receptions, but the main three, was Shockey, Toomer, and Burress. But Shockey wound up getting injured. He played in the 14th game against the Redskins. He wound up breaking his leg, and his season was over. But then Kevin Boss came in, and Kevin Boss started the final 2 games. He only had 9 receptions, but he was a good contributor. Let's see here. Lawrence Tynes was our kicker. He kicked 23 out of 27 field goals, 85%. Very, very good. Jeff Fiegels once again had he only averaged like 40 yards a punt, but his directional. He only had 5 touchbacks. But inside the 20, he had 25. He could drop it down where he wanted to. He was a phenomenal kick. He wasn't going to boom him 60, 70 yards or nothing like that. Not like the Scottish Hammer can, but, he was very, very, very good punter for the New York Giants. The Giants defense started coming alive. They had 53 sacks. They only gave up 28. So their offensive line, this was where the Seibert, Deal, O'Hara, Snee, and McKenzie. This is where the Fab Five. This is where they started playing year in and year out for like 3-4 years straight. I can't remember exactly how many games in a row they all played, but 2007 they were all did a phenomenal job for the Giants. Only 28 sacks they gave up all season long. Did a phenomenal job, and they really did a great job in the playoffs as well too. So now we're in the playoffs, all right? So what does the Wikipedia say about the 2007 NFL season? 2007 NFL season was the 88th regular season in the history of the National Football League. The regular season play was held from September 6th to December 30th. The campaign kicked off with the defending Super Bowl champion Indianapolis Colts defeating New Orleans Saints in the NFL kickoff game. The New England Patriots became the first team to complete the regular season undefeated since the league expanded to a 16-game regular season in 1978. 4 weeks after the playoffs began on January 5th, 2008, the Patriots' bid for a perfect season was dashed. 4 weeks after the playoffs started on January 5th. I'm like, the Super Bowl wasn't on January 5th. Okay. 4 weeks after the playoffs started, which they began on January 5th, the Patriots' bid for a perfect season was dashed when they lost to the New York Giants in the Super Bowl 42. the league championship at University of Phoenix Stadium in Glendale, Arizona on February 3rd. So let's go to the AFC, shall we? All right, of course, the Patriots won the AFC East with a record of 16-0. The Pittsburgh Steelers won the AFC North with a record of 10-6. The Colts won the AFC South with a record of 13-3. The Jacksonville Jaguars were 11-5, and the Tennessee Titans were 10-6. Those two teams had the wild card, and the San Diego Chargers won the AFC West with a record of 11-5. So in the playoffs, San Diego beat Tennessee 17-6. Jacksonville beat Pittsburgh 31-29. So in the divisional round, the San Diego Chargers beat the Indianapolis Colts 28-24, and the New England Patriots beat the Jacksonville Jaguars 31-20, setting up a championship game between the Patriots and the Chargers. It was kind of a little bit of an upset because it was the RCA Dome, Indianapolis, and a lot of people, kind of were thought, or what it maybe possibly kind of thought, or maybe that I would be once again a Brady Manning showdown. So because if the Colts had beat the Chargers, it would have set up a Peyton Manning showdown for the championship game, but it was just not meant to be. The Chargers wind up beating the Colts. So in the championship game, the Patriots beat the Chargers 21-12. So obviously sending New England Patriots to the Super Bowl. So in the NFC, we had three teams from the NFC East make the playoffs. The Cowboys won with a record of 13-3. Once again, a very, very good team. Giants were 10-6, and the Redskins were 9-7. So they had the two wild card teams, right? In the NFC North, the Packers won with a record of 13-3. Good old Brett Favre, right? NFC South, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers won with a record of 9-7. And in the NFC West, the Seattle Seahawks won with a record of 10-6. So in the playoffs, all right, the Giants, of course, beat Tampa Bay 24-14, and Seattle whooped up on the Redskins 35-14. So that sent those two teams, the Seahawks and the Giants, to the divisional round. Now, in the wild card game, this wound up being the the Jeff Garcia Bowl, or Jeff Garcia game, whatever. Jeff Garcia tried to become the first quarterback in NFL history to beat the same team in the playoffs 3 times with different teams. Now, he beat the Giants in the playoffs in 2002 when he was the quarterback of the San Francisco 49ers. He then beat the Giants in the playoffs in 2006 when he because I believe Donovan McNabb was injured. So Jeff Garcia quarterbacked the Philadelphia Eagles in 2006, and they beat the Giants 23-20. So now he's the quarterback of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and he tried to beat the Giants for the 3rd time in the playoffs with the 3rd different team, the 49ers, the Eagles, and out of Tampa Bay, but it was not meant to be. The Giants beat them. Giants definitely were a better team, and the Giants wound up winning 24-14. So in the divisional round, Green Bay beat Seattle 42-20 at Lambeau Field. And then, of course, one of the very, very, very exciting games here, the Giants wound up winning 21-17 over the Cowboys in Dallas. I mean, but the Cowboys, the first half, the Cowboys looked unstoppable. The Giants scored on a 52-yard touchdown pass, but then the Cowboys, the Cowboys had the ball a long time. Cowboys had the ball 36 and a half minutes. The Giants have 23 and a half minutes. The Cowboys, did a great job running the ball. I mean, the Giants had 230 total yards of offense, and they scored 3 touchdowns. The Cowboys had 336, but that's why you play the game, right? But the Giants went up 7-0, but then the Cowboys went on like a couple of long scoring drives. The Giants had a hard time getting off the field, so the Cowboys were up 14-7, and then just before the end of the half, Kevin Boss caught a pass. From Eli Manning. I can't remember how far it was or what. It was a nice, like 40-something yards, but I got the Giants down in the scoring range. And with 7 seconds left to go, Monty Tuma caught a 4-yard touchdown pass from Eli Manning to tie the score at 14. The Cowboys, all the Cowboys could muster up in the final half was a field goal. So in the third quarter, with 6 minutes, 53 seconds left to go, Nick Folk kicked this 34-yard field goal to put the Dallas up 17-14, and that was the final time they would score. The Giants, with 13 minutes and 29 seconds left to go in the fourth quarter, Brandon Jacobs scored on a 1-yard touchdown run, putting them up 21-17. Could the Giants hold on? Yep. Yes, they could. Now, obviously, in the final, minute or so, the Cowboys, got the ball. They started marching down the field. They got very, very exciting. They got down, I forgot what it was, like around the 20-yard line or so, whatever it was. It was fourth down, it was, I forgot how many, it was like 15 seconds, 10, 15 seconds or so left to go, whatever, in the game. Romo's dropping back the pass. He's looking. He's under some pressure. He throws the ball in the end zone. R.W. McCordis jumps up, picks the pass off in the end zone. Game over. Giants win. The look on Jerry Jones's face after that, after he picked the pass off, was just, it was just priceless. Absolutely priceless. So what a huge win. Absolutely huge win on the road against the Cowboys. Oh, man. Then, of course, we had the championship game against the Packers, right? So after the Packers beat the was it the Seahawks, I said? Yeah. After the Packers beat the Seahawks and the Giants beat the Cowboys, that set up the championship game at Lambeau Field, right? It wound up being the overtime game, tied at 20 and went into overtime, and then I think it was Corey Webster picked the pass off. Was it Corey? In overtime. The one thing, the problem was with Lawrence Tynes, it was so cold in the championship game. It was hard to, kick a good field goal. It was just so tough. I think it was Corey Webster. He jumped in front of a pass in overtime. What do we got? We got a kicker here? Lawrence Tynes, yeah. He missed 2 field goals. So it was just tough. Mason Crosby made both of his field goals, but Lawrence Tynes was 3 out of 5. Right, but the final one was it 47 yards? I think it was. Yeah, 47-yard field goal with 12 minutes and 25 seconds left in the first overtime period, because the intercepted pass, I think, happened on the first series. Packers got the ball in overtime. Brett Favre, I wasn't sure if it was the first play of overtime or whatever it was, but he threw an interception. Corey Webster jumped in front of it. It was a weak throw. He threw it, because it was cold. It was cold. And you're going into the 5th quarter of play. You're tired. It's tough. It's tough to throw a pass on a dart. So he threw the pass, and it was kind of, had a nice little arc to it. And Corey Webster had time to jump in front of it. Thankfully, he caught the ball, held on to it. He got tackled pretty much right there, but the Giants got themselves maneuvered themselves in kind of close enough in the field goal range. And of course, Lawrence Tynes, after he kicked it, it kind of hooked in and made it over the crossbar, and Lawrence Tynes running off the field, looking at his team. Yeah. And all his Giants fans were freaking the frick out. Yeah. Going to the Super Bowl. Right, where we wound up playing the Patriots, right? So, of course, in the Super Bowl, when we wound up playing the Patriots, you kind of wondered if anybody was going to score. It was 7-3 going into the 4th quarter. The Giants scored 3 points in the first quarter. Basically, they had a long drive, and they culminated with a field goal. They took almost 10 minutes off the clock, and they kicked 1 field goal. They wouldn't score again until 11 minutes left to go in the 4th quarter, right? But, going into the 4th quarter, it was 7-3, the Patriots. The Giants scored. David Tyree, Mr. Humacatch, scored with 11 minutes and 5 seconds left to go. So the Giants went almost 3 full quarters. With 2.5, they went like 2.5 quarters in between scoring. They finally scored 11 minutes and 5 seconds ago. David Tyree had a 5-yard touchdown reception from Eli Manning to put the Giants up 10-7. Then with 2 minutes and 42 seconds left, the Patriots weren't going nowhere. They're too good. They scored so many freaking points during the regular season. It was unbelievable. Absolutely crazy, the amount of points the Patriots scored during the regular season. My goodness, they were a freaking machine. Brady and Moss was unbelievable. So Moss caught a 6-yard touchdown reception from Tom Brady with 2 minutes and 42 seconds left to go to put the Patriots up 14-10. That's when Michael Strahan stepped up in front of his offensive lineman. He said, the final score, gentlemen, will be 17-14. Believe it, and it will come true, or something like that. 1 touchdown, and we are world champions. Believe it, and it will come true. I think it was something like that. But 17-14, and that's what it wound up being. So, of course, the Giants drove down the field. That phenomenal David Tyree helmet catch. Eli Manning throws the ball he slings it in the middle of the field, far down, which is something you don't do. But it wound up working out for the Giants. The luck was on the Giants' side. Fate, whatever you want to call it, was on the Giants' side. Man, I still get freaking goosebumps just thinking about it. And then, of course, that for some reason, with 35 seconds left to go in the game, the Giants had the ball at the 13-yard line. And what Plexico Burress said, he walked out because Plexico, they did a good job of shutting him down during the game. How many receptions did he have? Was it 1? 2. He had two catches all game. They did a phenomenal. I mean, that's what Bill Belichick does. What do you do best? We're going to take that away. Who's your man? Who's your main threat? Plexico Burress? Yep. Well, he ain't going to be a threat. And he was. He caught 2 passes all game long. But they had to, take a couple of guys, one guy underneath, one guy maybe over top or whatever, to try to eliminate Plexico Burress. So what did they do on the final play of the Giants drive, the game-winning drive? Well, Plexico walked up to the line of scrimmage and he said, and I saw this on a video, and he looked and he's like, they're blitzing. And he said he knew they were blitzing. He knew that it was man-on-man coverage. Basically, all game long, they're like double covering them. One guy, cornerback covering them. They got somebody maybe over deep, trying to eliminate Plexico, taking him out of the game. And they did a phenomenal job all game long at doing that. For one reason, they blitzed. They wanted to put Eli under pressure, make sure he got rid of the ball fast. And there was pressure. The pressure came, but Plexico walked up to the line of scrimmage. He's like, they're blitzing, and he knew the ball. It was one-on-one coverage. He was, I don't know what he was, 4, 5, 6 inches taller than the cornerback. He took a couple steps, faked in. I can't remember the cornerback's name. The cornerback took the bite, went in. Plexico planted his foot, went out. And the cornerback stumbled a little bit like that. And Plexico had 4 or 5 yards on him. Eli threw the ball up in the air. Plexico caught the ball, got 2 feet inbounds, touchdown. Now, of course, now the thing is that, the Giants were up by 3 points. Places were going freaking bananas because the Giants were up. But, of course, as I said, there was 35 seconds left to go in the game. You got Tom Brady, and, all right, how many freaking points did they score? They were just 580. They averaged 36.8 points per game. They averaged 37 points per game. 589 points they scored in 16 games. Almost 37 points a game. They gave up 17 points a game. So actually, they averaged outscoring their opponents by 20 points a game. I mean, what a phenomenal, unbelievable team. I mean, but the scoring, I think Morse had 23 touchdown receptions during the regular season. It was a broken NFL record. But what a machine they had. But with the 35 seconds left to go, they still had a chance. All they needed was a field goal. They didn't need a touchdown like they needed in Super Bowl 46, right? But Super Bowl 42, they just needed a field goal. And, you give Tom Brady a timeout, and 1 or 2 completions or they took a long shot down the sideline to Moss, which thankfully was incomplete. So, I mean, that's all he needs. 1 deep pass down the sideline. Moss brings it in. Boom, they're in field goal range. Right? They kicked it. We go to overtime. Maybe the Giants wind up losing, but thankfully the Giants were able to hold on. Jay Alford, which I brought up, right, had that he came up the middle. I can't remember if it was on a stunt or whatever it was, but he came up the middle, ran straight at Tom Brady, sacked his freaking butt. Oh, loved it. And Tom Brady's on the ground. I think he called his final timeout, looked up at the ref, one of those. And the Giants were able to hold on. Man, what a unbelievable. I mean, it's were the Giants the best team in football that season? Nope. No. I mean, the Packers were a very good team. The Cowboys were a very good team. I mean, the Patriots were 18-0. Okay, the Giants were not the best team in football, but that's why you play the games, right? I mean, that's why magic happens, right? That's why the Giants won 3 straight games on the road right? After the first two losses, they started with that goal line stand in Washington to become 1-2. After the first two losses, they went 10-3. And they played. They went toe for toe against the Patriots. They got confidence, as Michael Strahan said, no, we got confidence, right? That we knew we could play with anybody, and confidence they did, and they just went on a magical ride. And sometimes things happen. Like in the 2002 playoffs, the Giants, when they lost to the 49ers, the final play of the game. Seibert was down. The Giants had a bad snap. They're throwing the ball. They threw the ball down the field. That Seibert was a legal receiver. He gets pulled down. It's defensive pass interference. Refs don't call it. Giants should have had another field goal try. The Giants quite possibly could have kicked the field goal and wound up winning the game and continuing on. They probably would have lost to Tampa Bay the next week in the 2002 playoffs, but they got screwed. Sometimes good things happen. Sometimes, Miracle of the Meadowlands 1, Miracle of the Meadowlands 2, 2002 playoff. Sometimes you get screwed. Some bad things happen and you lose. This time, the football gods were just looking down on the Giants, and they just said, nope. Patriots 18-0. That's as far as you're going to go. So, magical season for us New York Giants fans. I just hope if you're sitting here and you're listening to this video, I hope you're alive to witness that. Because it was a magical run. The 3 playoff games, the Super Bowl, just something. If the Giants never win another football game, of course that's not going to happen. But if the Giants never win another football game ever, you can't take away the 2007 season. Can't. And magical season as it was. New York Giants, Super Bowl champions, their 3rd Super Bowl championship, and it was their 7th NFL championship in the season. So that pretty much wraps up the 2007 season. I'll be back again tomorrow with the 2008 team, which was even better than the 2007 season. Unfortunately, things kind of fell apart at the end thanks to Plexico Burress. But so that wraps up the 2007 season. Once again, I'll be back tomorrow night with the 2008 New York Giants, which just happened to be the 84th season in the history of the New York Giants. I'll see you then.